Hello, welcome to another video. Today it's going to be a bit more of a modern magazine, basically our own, as I have a quick look at just a few of the things that are in each of our latest issues of Amiga Addict and Pixel Addict. Obviously I'm not going to go too in depth because we do obviously want you to buy them as well, but I just want to show like a few of the things, which I think standout pieces that the teams have put together, as well as contributors as well. And again, I know I say every issue, but I do think they are getting more and more varied. Currently, as here on the 2nd of September, hard at work sorting out the next couple of issues, which will be on sale just before Play Blackpool. So we are going to be trading there on the 7th and 8th of October. So about 5 weeks to go until that. And then already now we're starting to see rumblings of a few events for, well, the start of next year, really. As I'm recording this, like news broke yesterday that it's going to be the final NERG, Northeast Retro Gaming. That's up in Newcastle, well, Gateshead. So that's going to be like next July. I'll put more of that info in the magazine as it comes through and stuff like that. It's a shame, it's obviously it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time to put events on, but that'll be one that I do, miss definitely. So, I'll probably just give you like little quick updates to what's going on in the world of the Addict magazines and things. But anyway, just gonna have a quick look. So here we have got issue 23 of Amiga Addict, and as I've said so many times, I'm not really that technical, never have been. It's always been like the game side for me. But with this one, the main feature is looking at Lightwave, which is still a program that people use today. Obviously started out on the Amiga, still used on PCs, things like that. So basically, the person who's actually put it together, Gareth, has interviewed like a load of people who have been involved with it over the years, other journalists, YouTubers and things. So it's quite varied. So we've also got a, I say demo disc, more of a, a downloadable ADF file. But we obviously, if you do subscribe, you get one of the little stickers, the disc stickers. Obviously, we don't supply the blank disc, sadly, because it will cost a fortune. But I think it's a nice little touch, Sadly, you don't get them when you buy it in the shop, mainly because they fall out. And I can just imagine staff at WH Smith's going, why is this sticker with it, But anyway, I'm like I say, I'm just going to have a very quick look over. The first thing is like a look at the Kickstart event done by our very own Ravi Abbott. And that was done, start of July, where most of the team was over in Nottingham. It was the first Amiga focused event in the UK for some time, so we've done a bit of a write up on that. Also things like your normal news and things. Have it here for Amiga Germany 38, something I would absolutely love to go to. So the shine of the light there, just getting on it. And the big celebration is the Amiga CD32, because that's 30 years old this year. Speaking of which, cheap plug, going straight into our next issue, which we're working on now. That's a massive CD32 celebration. I've spoke to quite a few different magazine journalists. We've spoke to a lot of people involved in making and designing the CD32, as well as some people in the games industry as well. So it's quite a varied article. So really, really impressed by that. So I am just going to have a very quick look. I've got it there for the merchandise, which seems to keep growing all the time. It's actually starting to look quite impressive. It's like the mags back in the day, now with drinks bottles, binders, hoodies and stuff like that. Need to start doing a bit more of the Pixel Addict merch as well. So anyway, I'm just going to try and flick through. One of the pieces that I did, the one piece to this issue, is speaking to a guy here, and it's basically Tristan Mason. He worked as a designer on Commodore and Amiga Review, Australian Commodore and Amiga Review. God, it's a mouthful. And he only spent a couple of years on it, but we have a bit of a chat about what the Amiga scene was like down in Australia, because obviously we use the same PAL format and everything. And that magazine lasted for quite some time, it only ended roughly the same time that, we lost Amiga Power over here and Amiga Action and everything. So it was quite an interesting chat. So the other thing we've got, I'll just quickly show a little bit. So we've got an interview with the Amigos podcast as well. That's part one. It was that much of a great interview, and we covered a lot of stuff in it, so that's like 4 pages long, and that's just the first part. And just quickly glance there. So we've got history of Lightwave. Again, big article here. I think it's 7 pages, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 pages. So quite a chunky article, but you've got, like I say, these people involved, like people like Ben Vost, who was over on Amiga format. God, I can't get my words out today. And also 3D World magazine. So we're sharing their memories and experiences using it. We've also got a quick look at a classic game, gold standard there, looking at Blues Brothers, done by Titus. Not a bad little platformer, but I played it recently and I was absolutely awful at it. I think like as a kid I probably had the built-in trainers all the time. But yeah, and then the other thing we've got is a big interview with the team at Badger Punch Games, who are working on a new roguelike game called Roguecraft. So I'm just going to glance at a little bit. So quite an in-depth interview, and it's one of the Amiga games that people are really looking forward to, so they've been showcasing it at events and stuff like that. So it's having a bit of a, a chat with them, see what the plans were, how the game's evolved and stuff. CD32 Corner, looking at Gunship 2000, not a type of game I'd be into too much. 6 of the Best with guy Keir Fraser, who made the Flash floppy, designed that software. So again, choosing his favourite Amiga games. And then we've also got, the latest demos over in the demo scene with Hoffman there as well. So he's chose a few demos to discuss and give his thoughts on. And then lastly, this is something we've been asked for quite a lot. It's a few pages, part one. I'm just going to show you just the beginning of it. So we've got a guide on Amos. So again, I've said before, I really am not technical, but I actually understood this and could actually follow it, at least with part one. Part two, which is in the issue that I'm working on, I was having a read through that, and I think that's basically where the wheels came off for me, because again, I've not got the, patience really to, really start looking into it all. But anyway, there's quite a few things in there. And then, like I say, we've got, the next issue there, looking at the CD32. So there's a lot to come, with Amiga Addict. And like I say, it's crazy now, we're getting to issue 24. So, quarter of the way to 100 almost, so it's not bad at all. And then next up, we've got Pixel Addict, the latest issue. I always say it, I think each issue is getting better. We are trying to get, some really good mixture of content as well. So this one, the main cover story is Celebrity Gamers. So we've really got the Competition Pro there on the red carpet. Now, I will obviously discuss this in great detail in a moment. So again, we've got the intro pages and contents there. I do try to keep a decent mixture of length of articles, because there's times where I'd love just to go top 5 arcade platformers, and quick page, almost like this class is like toilet reading, where you can just glance at it and then just go, yep, brilliant, but now we're starting to get a couple more quicker articles as well, which aren't really too in depth. So it's as we just keep building towards, moving forward. So not really going to show everything in great detail, but a couple of pages of news there, some recent news stories, points of view, which what was it based on? It was based on secret shames, basically. So gaming things that are like cutting corners and stuff like that, like the one I've mentioned in the magazine. I used to use like E-Honda's 100 hand slap, just get people in the corner and try to go for a cheap win. Not proud of it now. And then we've also got a look at the original Mortal Kombat film, and also the I say remake, more of a reboot, isn't it? Comparing the two. I don't think either are really bad films. And then we've also got a feature on the Haiku OS done by Tom Wilkinson, Wi-Fi Sheep. Again, I found that quite interesting because it shows how to obviously set things up as well. If you actually want to use that OS and putting it onto things like zip drives or a little USB stick. So it's quite interesting. Also got Templeman's Treasures here, and what's he looking at? He is looking at the Casio PV2000. So again, this is what I love. It's learning new things, and I always say that to Roy, who sends in this column. And then we've also got some feedback on this on Twitter, or X, as some people call it, or it's called now. And it's basically the Power Mac G4 Cube. So this is by Huxley, who the Forgotten Tech Flops. So again, quite an in-depth feature there, and not something I've ever used. And then I've got a write-up on this year's NERG from 2023. And then, like I say, it's a write-up of that, having a look at it, my thoughts. And then I don't know how well this will go down, because I've obviously done the magazine interviews in Amiga Addict. And what I wanted to do was, I spoke to Alex Lee, this guy. So basically, Alex worked for Europress on a lot of my favourite magazines as a teenager. So he worked on like Games X, ST Action, Amiga Action, Super Action, GB Action, all the actions, and then went to things like N64 Pro, a little bit for Game Pro UK. And basically started off as like a production editor, making sure magazines coming together, everything like that, and then he'd move on to actually become editor of quite a few of these magazines as well. So he had a few interesting stories, and again, it's hard to get into a lot of detail. I could just ask him about 7 or 8 questions just about GB Action or whatever. But it's just good to hear some of his favourite games, a few of his favourite experiences and stuff. But that's just it. We've worked on so many magazines in a 10-year period, but I had to get a bit of coverage on that. So we'll see how that goes down, because I might just try to keep it just to my magazine type coverage of classic mags in in Amiga Addict and stuff, because I don't have time for maximum power up at all at the moment, as said so many times. But let me know, I might just chuck in the odd one here and there. And then we've also got a bit of a PDA, so the handspring visor, having a quick look at that. We've got memories of one of our readers playing the Spectrum for the first time as well. And then we've actually got our main feature here, Shooting Stars. So this is done by Adam Peters, who used to write for Game Zone magazine, and he's also wrote for Amiga Power and a few others. And he came up with the idea, we want to talk about celebrity gamers, the early days of the celebrities on TV and in music who actually admitted to actually playing games or using computers and actually embrace them, because really up until the PlayStation came along, it was still seen as a bit of a nerdy sort of geeky type thing, just always like, oh, it's males playing in the bedroom just on computers all day. So he's interviewed the guitarist from Lush. He's also spoke to Chris Sell, who introduced BBC's computer show. and then also Alex Berry, aka Big Boy Barry. And it's just looking at how like a few magazines also embraced celebrities. So you got things like Kathy Dennis was in Sega Power quite a bit as well back in the day. Just have a quick look. You'll probably recognise the Sega Power tips tape, audio tape, and also some cheats on it. Well, cheats and also a couple of songs, I think it is. And then we've also got Homebrew Heroes, done by Mark, looking at a few of the most recent homebrew games. Some of them coming quite soon, others a little bit further down the line. A game called Uplink Hacker Elite, a game I've never played. It's about 20 years ago now. And then we've also got a look at the arcade one-up type machines for your home. Some people really like them. The guy who wrote this piece, Mike, he's over in America, and where was it saying? I listened to it on a podcast, and they were saying like in America these arcade cabs, these replica cabs, are like so much more cheaper over there, and they also go on offers and stuff. Over here, I know we have them in some HMVs and things like Smiths, but they do cost quite a lot. Anyway, another piece here, release the randomizers. This is looking at games like Final Fantasy, Zelda, people who've done ROM hacks and random things to mix up the game a little bit, different orders, different enemies, things like that. A look back at Alan looking back at Resident Evil as a bit of a classic review, and then a look back at the C64 Mini as well. Also a write-up of the PC Zone and 30th anniversary that I went along to in July. A look at the Silver Surfer Marvel figure, and then we've got Simon Butler at the back, and then next month the graphics. Is it Evolution or Revolution? Try not to do two partridge now. With that graphical Revolution, that's going to be done by Phil South. We spoke to a few people who are well known for being graphics artists as they discuss key moments of their career, and just showing how bitmap graphics evolved over the years. So lots to come, really, really is. So God, I think I've actually done that relatively quickly for me, sub 20 minutes. Right, I will not babble on so it actually stays under 20 minutes. Again, you can get these dead easy, just pixel.addict.media. And yeah, hang on, God no, sorry, it's just addict.media. God, see, I'm messing up now. Basically, if you search for Pixel Addict or Amiga Addict, you'll get them both there. Sorry, there's me babbling, excited over being under 20 minutes. Oh, again, in WH Smiths as well. Okay, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.